daily dose of honest science.
Hi guys, welcome back to Daily Dose of Honest Science. I'm Chani Kumar, and today I was thinking why not talk about with someone who's not in the scientific field, so scientist versus non-scientist. I have my lovely sister Priya here. It's the first time for her.
Hello.
So yeah, Priya, maybe you just introduce yourself a bit, what you're doing.
Well, my name is Priya, as she told me already. Told you guys already. This is my very first time doing this kind of stuff, and I'm an executive assistant in an international consulting company, and I do have like a little bit of a science background, but we might deep dive into this later on. And she's my sister. And I'm here because she asked me to, and I hope
I annoyed you.
No, she didn't annoy me. But I hope you guys will like the podcast.
The episode, hopefully, and of course the podcast.
Yes.
So what I was thinking today, the episode should be about is the view that people have from a non-scientific background. Of course, she has a little bit of scientific background because she studied a bit of science. But I was curious to know what maybe is different in the view, and also like what people might be thinking differently in other fields about us, and vice versa. That would be something really cool. And since this episode is taken a bit before Christmas, I would like to give you all, of course, a wonderful Christmas time. And this is also going to be the last episode for this year 2023.
Yes.
So if you might listen it on the New Year's Eve, Happy New Year to 2024. If not, then I wish you all a very happy New Year. And let's dive deep into it, or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Priya, maybe give us a bit of your background. So how far apart are we?
What do you mean, like
From
age-wise?
Age-wise, yeah.
Or like 3.5 years?
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's so much. Like we did not have the same childhood.
But that's true, because when I look at you, you are much more into social media than I am.
I am, but no, I can't say this. But never mind. Yeah, I'm not in. I am into social media, but yeah, that's true. Like, as I can see from you doing the podcast and like being on Instagram actually for the first time. I had Instagram since the very beginning.
Yeah. True.
And before I was like, I had an open Instagram, and now like obviously I'm what do I mean with obviously? Yeah, I'm private, but I don't do like social media content
for now. Yeah, we're giving you a teaser maybe at the end of the podcast episode. Of course, yes, we need to promote it.
There's nothing
There's nothing
to promote. I don't have anything. Oh my god. Never mind. But yeah, so we are like 3.5. Yeah, maybe there might be something
in the future.
Yeah. So there, we are 3.5 years apart, and I don't know, like we grew up kind of the same way. Still, you don't have that kind of attachment to social media as I do. I use social media as a platform to like get rid of my everyday problems, something like this. Not everyday problems, but more like the stress I have. I just want to see and consume content that does not have a lot to do with the like everyday business, in my opinion. I don't know how it is for you. Why you actually
For me, it's very stressful, to be honest. So of course I like to do like science communication stuff, but the past few weeks, and also I'm sorry that I couldn't upload any podcast episode because it got so stressful also in my daily life. So the problem is I'm not consuming as much social media in that sense. So for me, YouTube, and I'm very restricted to certain people that I watch. What?
I just had that video in my mind.
Oh
I'm
my
so
god,
sorry.
yeah.
I just wanted to bring this up as an example. Like, I just laugh about the most stupid things ever, because it's just, I see a video and I replay it 100 times. And this is like the kind of things when something makes me laugh or whatever. Like if I consume some content that is interesting for me, even though it's not really like high quality in that sense, like it doesn't have like much input. I don't know. I think for you, social media is like a big burden somehow. Like burden.
Yeah, not burden, more like very stressful. So more like how can I say? It's more like that I feel a pressure to always deliver,
Yeah.
even though. So as far as I've seen social media, if you want to grow and you make a community and everything, it's really hard for someone to build it up. So if someone made it, it's really a great thing. But the problem is to keep the people always watching, to entertain them, but also to inform them. And sometimes, to be very honest, sometimes I'm really pissed at the content that is delivered, because I'm like, what is the main message you want to convey? So is it more in a funny way, or like?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you need to differentiate between those people who don't want to actually deliver something with a specific content and just for fun, and between those people who actually want to deliver a message and like get you into like science or whatever, and they not bringing the actual information they should be given, even though they have the background. So in my opinion, social media needs to be according to the generations we have. Like we have the millennials, we have the Gen Z, and we have Generation Alpha, which is now they're called Alpha. I don't know, I have looked it up, and
but what in your work, do you encounter these people already?
Well, I have someone who is as old as you, and I don't know how I can.
No, I mean from the alpha and so on, like
No,
the smaller ones.
No.
You don't. Okay.
I don't want to encounter them. No, it's just
the listeners are maybe at this age, and then they're like,
guys, when you're at my age, you will understand why. No,
yeah,
it's
true.
I don't know. You need to adapt to the generation, because if you don't catch the generation, I think your followers will just decrease instantly.
Definitely.
And if you don't have already a platform and like people who actually enjoy your content already, I think it's very difficult for someone to build it up. Especially in such a time, because we have already talked about this. There are other people who have created content for like 10 years and they have like their base community, like they're grounded in their community, and then they can also within time, of course, you get more knowledge and get yourself more information about certain things, and then you can take this as an advantage to build up the information and to educate your community with some certain stuff, I don't know. I don't know if you feel the need right now to, I don't know how to put it in words. The main content you bring is everything about science. So do you really want to only bring science content also only in the future? Do you have something else in your mind what you want to do to build up your Instagram and everything, like on social media?
So I think my main purpose is to make science more sexy to people.
Okay.
In blunt ways said.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the most important thing is that oftentimes when I talk to people who are not in science, and for instance our mom, it's sometimes so difficult to explain all the things that are happening, and also like what it might imply for a certain disease, or and then I'm like, okay, there are ways how to convey the message better, because we scientists do a really bad job in that. There are some people out there who are doing a great job, but oftentimes we want to share with the public what kind of great science we did, and then it's only available on the news articles, and then it's so broken down that it's not accurate anymore.
But the problem is, if you want to deliver the message or like the input you have, and you want to make it sexier to the people, as you said, you shouldn't be going into details, don't you think so? Because if you go into details, people will lose interest.
Yeah, so definitely I'm leaving out a lot of fancy details, because for the purpose of conveying the message, it's not important. But sometimes I have in the comments also someone like, hey, it was just recently, I think 2 days ago, I posted my reel about a clinical trial that might have really amazing results about stem cell therapy in Parkinson's disease next year. And then suddenly someone who's a bit bigger on Instagram wrote like a comment, but what are the reasons why people developed this Parkinson's disease, and what do you think can we do to prevent it? And I'm like, well, it's not a black and white answer. First of all, I'm not a medical professional. First of all, I have a PhD, but this one is in biochemistry, in molecular biology. So I'm just a scientist who understands the molecular mechanisms that might be wrong in some of the diseases, but I'm not someone who can tell you everything that is disease related. This is something that I would never do. And this is something that people don't understand properly. And this is often what I also see when I talk to medical people. So I have a wonderful friend who is also like a medical professional, and she is also like always fascinated what we do. But sometimes it's really difficult because we scientists miss the opportunity to work with the medical professionals together. And I think these two disciplines should be more working more closely together.
But how would you do this? Like, how would you want them to work closely together? Because if it did not happen all the years ago, or maybe we did not know about that, especially me, because I don't have that background and I don't have the insights of this, how would you say, what would you change to actually like make them work together?
On the scientific field now, or scientific level, I often see like there are groups from medical professionals who are doing research, but they are often left out by us. So we do the research and they also do the research, but we never come along. So
why is that?
I don't know, there's some sort of barrier. I don't know why there's a barrier, but it's really hard to collaborate with medical professionals.
Is that maybe because they think that they're like the...
It's the opposite. I have the feeling that we think we are superior than them.
Really?
Yeah.
And why so?
So I don't think so. Not that people get the wrong impression, but I think the problem is because many scientists think that they know because they study the mechanisms, and they're more like, the medical professionals they're saving lives, but they don't know what is going on a molecular level, so this kind of thinking, which is completely bullshit, I would say. So if I would ask another professional, medical professional from, I don't know, I know someone who is also working and has a group, I would never think that he would be like this, like that he doesn't know what is on the molecular level, because he won a lot of awards and he's getting a lot of grants. But I think the most promising, prominent difference that we have is our skill set. So it's a lot of effort for a medical professional to think like a scientist and vice versa.
Okay.
And I see it, for instance, we have a clinician scientist who is actually a pediatrician. And he, for instance, just some weeks ago told me, like, it's really hard to get into these details and so on because they are not trained. And my ideal world would look like that we have a team consisting of a medical professional and a scientist, and that we put together
both inputs and both knowledges.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, so for instance, if I would, I don't know, work on melanoma or multiple myeloma or something like that, that we have on the medical side everything that has been related with the physiology and everything, and then on the scientist side we have everything that is on the molecular level, like genetics, proteomics, transcriptomics, etc. So everything that would describe why we fail in this cancer or what is different and so on. That would be, I think, the dream.
Okay.
And I talked to someone who worked a really long time in the industry field, who retired now, and he told me that specifically in Europe it's really like a division.
Okay.
Science and medicine is like divided, and this kind of division you don't have a lot in America, for instance, and that's why they always come up with new like novel therapies and because they have this so-called bench to bedside, which means, and vice versa, so you have something that you create on the bench that you can translate into the clinics, and something that you see in the clinics you actually observe then later on the molecular mechanism on the bench, and this is something that is really like not well developed in Europe as far as I see it, because I was searching for it because I'm got really like into it, and also in the specific field that I am with mass spectrometry, there's a lot going on, like discovery of biomarkers, proteomics in the field of plasma, so that you analyze all the proteins that you have in your blood, what can be different if you have the disease state, and these kind of stuff. And I don't know why, but this is somehow missing, that this is coming together. And when I come back to the doctor that I was talking about, he also told me that he has limited access to actually these kind of instruments. So we try, or he tries to have access to these instruments, but somehow we scientists always collaborate with each other, and always the same person over and over again, but we are not, or at least the ones that I saw are not really like branching out to these kind of communities.
So as someone from
outside, so when you hear
as an outsider, I don't really understand the problem, why people have such barriers to like communicate with each other, collaborate with each other, because isn't the whole point of being a scientist actually to change something in the world, doing the stuff you're doing, like being as a researcher, for example, you're researching on some certain diseases depending on which field you are in, but like for me, I would say like researching on some specific diseases like HIV, that there's still no cure for this actually, and that you can't get rid of it once you have it, and everything like this. So I don't understand why these people have problems, or like just collaborate with each other over and over again, because it makes no sense to me. I would say, as you said, a bench to bed, it makes so much more sense, because researchers are doing something specific, they find a solution maybe, and they can transfer this to the clinic. The clinic or the doctors can say, okay, we have a new cure, and then they use it, and everyone will be happy eventually. And the doctors who see some diseases who haven't been even like not launched, but haven't been seen
exposed.
Exposed yet, they see it for once, and then suddenly they're like, oh my god, what's happening here? And
Mm,
obviously they need someone who can do the research on this.
yeah.
So in my opinion, it should start already with the universities. There should be studies where they put these kind of things together.
Yeah, that I had in my very first episode when I was talking to Leona. She is a PhD student. I was also talking about like you can have your project that you're working on in
Yeah.
the group, but I would have a side project that is more on the medical side.
Yeah.
And that I would love because then you would foster anyway all the kind of collaborations
Yeah.
with each other. But oftentimes that's kind of the problem. That's for sure. But coming to your background,
Yeah.
you studied also something in science, but then you left. Can you maybe elaborate a bit more on why you left and why was it not for you, and what is the main difference maybe between us, that I'm still in the science and you just, you did management and marketing?
So I was a trainee, and I studied as an biological technical assistant, and I was specified in the field microbiology because this was actually the one field I really loved to do, because you had results in the end, like you do something, you have results the day after. You see it, like you see it physically. And I was working in a hospital in Frankfurt, and I really enjoyed my time there. I really loved it over there. But the thing is, why I left is also I did not see a big chance of like becoming something bigger within like the hospital itself, and you always do the same work. And I'm more of like a creative person, I would say. I like to see things, or I like to see the results either immediately or just in general to see results. And I feel like in that field, I did not get the development I wanted to, and therefore I always like thought, okay, I think I might be just a person who wants to go to the office and just do my stuff. And even though I'm doing right now things every day the same thing, but there's always something adding up, and there's always a new project I can work on, and I can be creative, and that is something I was seeking and searching for, and finally I am like really happy at the moment. But yeah, I don't know, it wasn't catchy enough to like make me stay in that field, because in the very beginning, as you knew, I never wanted to have anything to do with the medical field, if I would say so, or the scientific field, because
You just wanted to open up people.
yeah, actually. No, actually.
So she was thinking of
Surgeon?
pursuing,
Yeah.
being a surgeon.
Yeah,
But then she realized, oh fuck, I have to study medicine.
exactly. I hate studying. I really hate it because I feel like it's. I don't say it's not necessary, but it's just for me. I just want to work, show how much hard work I can put in and good effort, and then get to the next level.
Yeah.
That is the way I want to pursue life somehow. But yeah, I would love to do this. I would still love to do this, or actually also not on living objects, but also when someone has died. And I don't know how you say that, like criminology. I'm not sure how you say it in English,
Yeah,
but like everything that has to do with crimes, I love to like
that's true. Yeah, you love to listen to these true crime
true
stuff.
crimes and like medical detectives and everything,
Yeah,
because that is interesting for me, because it's actually helpful. I mean, not in like murdering someone or whatever. It's helpful for like people to understand how did they come to that conclusion, from which distance someone has got killed or shot or whatever, through some blood stains on the wall. So that was something really interesting to me. Yeah, and I don't know why I never really tried to go into that field. I think I was just done with that one training, or like with that one study I did.
With that one study,
And I also, it was the city. I just wanted to leave Frankfurt. I didn't want to stay there because holy Lord, I don't want to go there again. That was like 4 years of my life. I wouldn't say was wasted, but it was like an experience I do not need one time more. You know, so
Yeah.
so yeah. I don't know. What do you wanted to say? What was your question?
So the question was like, you as an outsider who has been for a very short time been in the science
Yeah.
field. How do you see science usually? So you are not the fan of all these kind of
Well, I also worked in the pharmacy, so I do have a little bit of background. And
yes, so
the thing is, like, I feel like since the doctors don't really have much time for a patient and don't really see them as a patient, in my opinion, of what I have seen, I didn't want to continue in such a field. Also, I
And what do
know
you-
how my colleagues worked with the patient samples, and if they got contaminated or some whatever, they didn't really care, and that is something I cannot like. Imagine it could be your own dad, your own mom, or whatever who is a patient in that hospital, and you're like messing with the samples, and you're not interested in doing so, or like not interested in like changing your mindset or whatever. So that is actually something I have seen a lot in that case, and I just don't want to work in such a field where people are not really with their whole heart to the work. So
okay, so not everyone is like this, I guess.
of course, yeah,
No,
of course,
right? But
there are other
unfortunately, we both made really bad experiences,
yeah.
and also our parents.
Yeah.
I want to highlight the one medical professional that I found via Instagram. She is actually doing the opposite. She's like really into it to help the people, and it's really remarkable how much time she spends with the patients. And her philosophy is also that she really wants that people are treated well, and she knows the problem that are existing. But what I want to ask you is, I oftentimes come home, and you hear the problems that I talk about, especially in the scientific field. So I'm talking about the academia, right?
Yeah.
So we both know that I went through a rough PhD.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But
not even even before that it was rough.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it was rough even before that. Yeah.
And now as a postdoc, so I'm done. I just wanted to hear from you, like, would you have expected these kind of problems in this community?
To be very honest, no. I did not expect anyone to be belittling you for also being a woman, because I see that there is a lot of problems still for you being a woman in that field, because people don't take you serious.
No.
And I don't know how it is in other countries, but I feel like Germany has a big problem or issue with like collecting or like getting money in general to like search on certain stuff. So from what I heard, what you're doing, or on what you're right now searching on, like, I don't know, these flies or whatever, I don't see any common sense in why would you do this. I don't see why would you research on a fly when you can't even imply this to a normal human being.
Yeah.
And
I had this discussion actually today with another PhD student of our lab.
Yeah.
Freddie. So I was talking to her about exactly that, because I'm also not a fan of these model organism stuff.
Yeah.
But she said, in order to get some insights on why certain diseases are spreading, of course you have to have model organisms that you can rely on, that are a bit more simpler than the human body. And the problem, of course, that we have is we don't have a perfect system, so we cannot. It's really hard to say it right now, but we cannot start to have experiments on humans.
Of
right?
course, no.
Right? So
I'm not saying to ever have any experiments on humans, because that is just...
no, I mean,
No,
in the
but
end, you actually, when you break it down, what you're doing with the animals, to be fair,
yeah, it's just for the human body.
yeah, and actually, to get the really meaningful thing,
Yeah,
you have to actually do it in the human body
yeah,
with
that's true.
human suspects and everything. And then, it's a very, very gray zone area, because clinical trials, it's also like already on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
But like you want to study Alzheimer and everything, so usually we have like these established mouse models or rat models or whatever, but Freddie told me just some time ago that mice actually never develop this kind of stuff, so you induce it to study what is happening actually in the human brain, and then kind of the information that you get or the findings, I always, it's kind of cool to find out if you find a new mechanism, but usually oftentimes I'm like, how well can you actually transfer that back?
Yeah,
How much is artificial, how much is an artifact,
yeah, that's true. But
so,
still, there are
yeah.
other diseases and other things you can... For example, HIV. In my opinion, that's like a very big problem. You should work on it, and yeah, I mean, of course, people are already doing the research on it and whatnot. But there are like other diseases that cannot be cured. For example, COVID. We don't have a vaccine against it so that you don't get it. It's not really... You get it so that you might can prevent it, or that the symptoms afterwards, if you have it, will be less.
So you cannot really prevent from
Exactly.
getting it in that, but you can tune down.
Yes. Also, during
facts,
the time you have corona,
yeah,
you cannot really treat it with something. You just need to wait 2 weeks, and then you're okay. And the people who all have like side effects from that, no one really talks about this. We do some documentaries.
You mean long COVID?
Yeah. Because people don't really like talk about it. You see it sometimes on the news, but then you forget about it. That's it. But yeah, back to the question when you asked me like if I would have ever imagined you having such problems. I actually, it is really bad, or like, it is mean of me to say that these people, I thought that you're like in a very high league of people. Everyone has studied and everyone knows how to work and be appropriate or something, in my opinion. But from whatever I have heard from you and I have seen, because I did meet some colleagues of yours, and I don't know why, but I don't get that feeling anymore, because I don't think that they're superior or whatever. Like, for some of them, I have never ever seen a person that actually is really wholeheartedly to that work as you are, for example. And they don't want to change something in that system, and if you do, just like you want to do something, you're gonna get belittled. People try to like push you down in some way, and all the other people, especially these elderly people who are sitting up there in their chairs for like, I don't know, 40 years already, they're just misusing their powers. That's it. That's how it looks to me as an outsider. And sometimes it makes me really angry that why people are like this, but you cannot change them. You can just wait until, like, it is really mean to say, but to wait out until all these old people have died so that new people can come.
Yeah, but the problem is what I've seen. I was thinking something similar, so maybe we just need an exchange of the people from the generation and then it will be better. But even the ones that are coming up have the same mindset, because they're taught like this, that you have to be in a certain way. You can only get through if you work like I don't know how many hours, and like it's really a very restricted kind of thinking, and I realized for myself, like, I'm not like this, because after having this kind of mental breakdown, I realized that overworking will not make me much more happier. And even
That's true.
people who left academia and went to industry are much more happier sometimes. So I know some people who really said that was the best decision that I ever made.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I'm also like at the edge right now. So
Yeah.
I'm really like thinking of leaving something that I already knew long time ago, but the system is making you sick,
Yeah.
making you mentally sick. And also what really surprises me and pisses me off, you don't get any credits.
Yeah.
So you are doing your job and you have a lot of ideas, but it's never the case that someone tells you that you did a great job or something like this. And I'm not someone who's be like, you have to give everyone a pat on the back every 2 seconds. But this kind of value that you give the person, that he or she is doing a great job, that is completely missing. And right now I'm also like, what I'm doing actually there, to be honest.
Yeah, well, since I can like tell from the very first perspective, I see you every day and I see what kind of problems you have, and I do say that you're not happy in what you're doing right now. Doesn't mean that you will not be happy in future, maybe in the same field, but like in a different location.
Setting, yeah.
Yeah. But from what I have seen and heard so far, in my opinion, you should have left way earlier. Because I know that you're working a lot, you're working so much, and you overwork yourself a lot because you're just like me, you're a very big overthinker. And
well, just to add in here, so we are doing now the podcast episode, right?
Yeah.
Afterwards, tomorrow, I will teach the medical students some molecular biology again.
Yeah.
And I need to prepare again slides, because the day doesn't have enough hours to get all this stuff done.
Of course, yeah.
And oftentimes I mock up myself and be like, my time management is screwed, but it's not. Actually, it's just the energy levels that you have to bring in for this work is just tremendous. And I'm thinking of like, it's way out of that what you should do.
That's true. I absolutely agree. Sometimes
because it cannot be that I come home and sleep on the couch after, for me it's the first time that I'm presenting and giving lectures and so on.
Yeah.
For me it's also like really the first time.
But have you been like, did you do this voluntarily?
No, it's part of my job.
Okay, so you have to do this.
Yes, I have to do this.
Because I had no idea if like your boss actually signed you up for this and said, "Oh yeah, you just need to go."
No, he asked me when we had the interview if I would be down for it, and I was like, yeah, why not? And then he said, yeah, well, but that is what you signed up for now.
But did he ever help you in this kind of sense?
No,
he never helped
you. Zero. So so we have a coordinator for everything, and with him I had the discussion like what I have to do, what I have to prepare. But and luckily we have like these master presentation things that you can use as a template. But when I look at this, then I have to remember back when I had these lectures, and I'm like, that's why I never got the stuff that I wanted to, because it's so badly sometimes explained. And sometimes you would just have a picture, and I have some notes down there, but how can the medical students make sense out of it? And then oftentimes when I hear like, we have to make it for the medical students very simple because they anyway don't get it. And I'm like, if you go with such an attitude to that, of course it will be like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. You're already prejudging. Yeah, they're already prejudging them,
Yeah. So by their experience, because they're already older and did this kind of stuff all the time. But when I was looking at these templates, I was like, no wonder. So I really sat down and, did some research, did some new figures. I did also like other really cool diseases that you can take, because they always take the same diseases. I was like, yeah, well, if you look at the statistics, of course, obesity, diabetes, and so on, but for instance, autoimmune disorders and everything, they're also coming up. So why not taking them into it and explain the molecular biology by that? So what is going wrong? So they have to think about it and so on.
So did you ever get like a feedback from them?
I asked them, I think some days ago. So far, they were like, they really like it.
Okay.
And but it's, so for me, it's a big plus that nearly every one of them is contributing to the whole seminar. So I always ask questions. I always try to, that they have to think about it. And I always have like 6-7 people who are always there and be very eager. And I think for the very first time to have such a, I would say, success, this is something that tells me, okay, I'm doing something maybe right.
Yeah.
But still, of course, I always think, what can I do better, improve? And especially because these medical students, if they really do the study, they will be later on fully doctors.
Yeah.
So you are shaping at some kind of way the next generation.
Of course, yeah.
And for me, this is like a huge thing, because I don't want to first screw up.
Yeah.
And very importantly, I still today remember back some of the peoples that I had in my studies and still are in contact with them, because they did such a great job. So I want to be that person, maybe somehow in the head, and be like, oh yeah, she was the person that told me, like, wow, that's so cool. Like, science doesn't have to be always like, oh my God, I have to learn all these, I don't know what is a polymerase and whatever.
Yeah, that was science for me actually, when I used to like had biochemistry back in the days and whatnot, and like microbiology or like molecular biology.
It's like you learn it and then you spit it out.
Yeah.
But it's not like just remembering it anymore.
No, because it wasn't really fun, and they never really explained us why you even have to know this. Like, they never really got onto that point where I say, oh, I need this so that I know this and that. It's more like, you need to know it, and then afterwards, if you have this in your mind, you can do this and that.
Yeah.
So, but it's not like there was no specific example of like, why do I even need it? Like, and that's why I know that you put a lot of effort in it.
Yeah, because you can explain many molecular biology or biochemistry terms or processes by watching a disease or so, because you can say, well, in the normal state it's like this, but in the disease state you have this kind of difference, and that's why it's, you know, that's why I'm thinking of like how to do it, and oftentimes I'm realizing like where maybe I'm a bit too much, like that.
I can say that.
I'm trying to explain, and then you see in her eyes like,
my eyes are just shutting down because I don't understand anything. Because yes, exactly. It's just the fucking Windows background noise in my head. It's like because I just shut down because I know that I don't understand a single thing, because she gets way too much into detail.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to tell her that she should not, especially not with people who are not from the scientific field, but it's hard for her because she wants to be so correct and precise.
Yeah, because the problem is
not all the time. Not all the time.
So the problem is that oftentimes we face this misinformation right now, especially on social media. Everyone tends to be an expert in everything. Yeah. And that is the gray zone area that we enter. Yeah. Because medical professionals sometimes exceed their limits, and we as scientists exceed our limits. Yeah. And there are oftentimes many people who think they can just do research and then spit it out and be like, I'm now, the best person to ask. And to avoid spreading misinformation, it's important that we talk about it. And also, like, for instance, people come up with studies, so I also do that. So I come up with studies that are really important, but I always come to the point where I say, what is the limitation of the study? But because oftentimes, and I think that is something that you also see, you oftentimes think that what we have found is law, right? Do you think like that? So when we have some new insights into a disease or something, then you're like, that's now it, or not?
Do you from your perspective, like
from your
no, I mean, like, from your perspective, if you do a research on something, you got something out of it, and then that's basically it.
So like what I did in the
unless
Instagram,
I don't hear that in the news, no.
This is what I meant. So like if someone comes up in the news with, I don't know, DNA tells you about obesity or something like this, then you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But in the end, if you look back, the study had clear limitations and that were not properly tagged. And this is something that you should know, because oftentimes when we do research, we cannot cover everything. So,
of
and
course.
we all have to limit ourselves. And that is the problem, that this message is not conveyed properly. And that is what I'm also doing, that I always say, hey, when you look at the study, these are the limitations, because people did not look at it. Because sometimes, or oftentimes, I have the feeling, when I come, for instance, with obesity linked to your DNA, people are like, oh my God, that's why I'm obese, because I have to blame my DNA. Yeah, well, no.
Yeah.
So
I know what you mean, that but a lot of people who are trying to like catch you with these kind of like clickbaity videos, as I said, they just want to do it because of the clickbait, and they don't really, these on the other hand, these people who are actually obese, they want to have an excuse of why they're so fat,
for instance, or any other disease, or why they have it and whatever.
So it's not like, oh yeah, I know why why I got to that point. No, they actually know it deep down there somewhere, but they don't want to admit it, and then they take these kind of videos, say, this video showed me that it was in my DNA and that's why it's like this. Well, no, it's not like this. So I would say, unless,
but it's a piece that a medical professional can take to maybe alter its, like medication, or you know what I mean, that for medical professionals it's actually really good to know what is the current literature and what we found out, because this is also very limiting. When I was talking to one of my friends, she said that for her it's really hard to keep up with all the stuff that we are doing. So for her it's really hard, and also reading everything, and because it's so in our own language, so that's why I'm trying to help her to do reviews and do some literature research, that she gets like a package. That is, so that is the two coins that you have. So one, on the one side, that you don't oversimplify it, and on the other side that you don't that you get the medical professionals and be like, cool, that's new, maybe I should think about this.
In my opinion, I would just say, since you have seen that there's a big gap in this kind of stuff, maybe that is exactly your opportunity to change something in that way.
I hope so. I hope so that people support me in this endeavor.
It will take time, of course, because it's not an easy topic on what you're working on and everything, because science is such a big field. And
at some point I was thinking, should I also learn now medical, do a study on top with medical medicine?
Brother, stop it. Get some
help.
Yes, stop. Why would you do this to yourself? Like, you have already studied so much, like you did your bachelor's, master's, and then your PhD, man. Calm down. Please.
I want to have another PhD in med.
Oh, but please,
No, I'm just joking.
she's not.
10 years
but,
later, doctor, med, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know that you're curious about such stuff, but I think, in my opinion, you should just take this as your advantage of knowing that there is a lack of these kind of things, like lack between the medical students and the scientific students, or like the researcher students, or not even students, but in general, like the jobs, and try to change that in future.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know.
We are nearly at 1 hour again. Oh my god.
You're like, yeah, we're gonna do only 30 minutes 45 minutes.
But see, that is what I told you about the flow, so you cannot
yeah,
stop
that's
the flow.
true, the flow, but I just came from work. I'm like drained as frick, and I don't know what I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm sorry.
So as I want to wrap up now, so we were talking about your background and how do you see science. So now I would like to have your view or outlook from your side. What can we scientists do better? What would you wish would be different? And maybe what you wish for the new year for yourself.
Bruh. That is a question, man. What I would wish from scientists, that they don't think they're superior. But this wish will never become true. Never.
Do you think of me I'm superior?
No,
So
I'm not.
that
No, I'm not saying that about you. I know other people who think that they're just so much better than the others, and what they have studied is actually the actual studies, and compare themselves with other people in such a different field, not even scientific field, and say, well, you're just in the army. Like, what are you even doing? You're just serving the lambs. Something like this.
Okay.
So I don't want them to look down on others.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely a problem.
And what I wish for next year, that you have more peace. Really, that you have more peace in your job and in your general life. That you find something where you can say, oh my God, finally I'm at that point, I'm at that place where I feel happy and where I can do stuff I really want to do, and where you're like keen to have more knowledge. So that is my wish for you.
Thank you.
No problem.
And I wish you that you
Get
can
a new
stay.
life. Thanks.
Huh?
Get a new life. Thanks.
No, but we teased it a bit on. So you wanna try something new, depending on
Brother,
how it will go.
listen to me. If I didn't stop YouTube like 10 years ago, I would have been already famous, okay? I would have been famous. Man, I would have cash. And now I'm broke sitting here, man. No. But yeah. It's a wish, and maybe it will become true.
So maybe, guys, would be nice. So she's trying to set up a stream. She loves to play video games, especially right now. She's loving to play Valorant.
Yeah.
So she's trying to set up a stream. It would be amazing if you could come to the stream. And what do you still have? Is the name fixed now?
No, actually, I don't know if I should say it, because if someone else takes the name.
Then don't do it. But
but yeah, I still don't have an account. Like, you don't think that you can search me up.
No, but
or
in the
whatever.
new year, I think I wish you that you can start and that you blow up.
That I blow up. Okay. Boom.
No.
Well, okay.
No, I mean that you that
The
it
TikTok,
catches.
the TikTok filters already told me that I'm gonna die. I tried it 4 times, and 4 times it told me that I'm gonna die in the next year. So maybe she's predicting something. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So that was the episode. Actually,
Yes.
we already.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much for you for coming. even though you just worked and.
Yeah, man, I'm so drained.
Me too.
And I'm hungry. Oh my god, I'm so hungry.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go home.
Let's go.
So guys, we see us in the new year.
Never mind. No, nothing.
So guys, we see us in the next episode. Hopefully in the new year.
Have a good one.
Have a good start into the new year.
Yes.
Make the best out of it. Stay curious, right? And
please make sure to follow her because her content is actually really creative and she tries to like sum it down for other people who are as dumb as me.
Priya, you know that no one will believe you because you're my sister.
I don't care, man. We're so different. We're so different from the personality.
Just roll the advertisement here, please.
Come on. We are so different in what we're doing. I do gaming, you do scientists. I'm an executive assistant and you're a fucking postdoc. We are so different in such things that why would I say this? Just out of just because she's my sister? I don't think so, because she knows if I'm not interested in something, I just don't give a fuck.
True, that's true.
I really don't give a fuck. Like I don't care.
But the stuff that I post, you really are into it.
No, I'm not into it. As in, like, because I'm not into scientist. I'm not into science.
But you find it interesting. Or?
I find it. You put it. You make it. Damn it, bro. You know that when you do a podcast, you should actually be lautlos.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, never mind. Let's just thank you.
Yeah.
You see this? Oh no, you see this? Stop it. Can we stop?
Okay, guys.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and have a nice time. And we see us in the next. And Daily Dose of Honest Science. Don't forget it. And if you want to watch something else, just let me. Watch the other clips. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. YouTube. YouTube anyway. I'm uploading there also some stuff, but I don't have threads. I don't have WhatsApp business stuff and so on.
No, it's fine. Don't bother her.
I'm happy with that one.
Don't bother her because otherwise I will come for you. Thank you. 감사합니다. 안녕하세요.
Okay, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.